have thoroughly engaged and consulted before making this far-reaching announcement.
Scores of customers of various telcos throng registration centers to regularize their SIM registration in the midst of frustration.
We are here because of chip, but we are telling Esrousu that God bless her. Period.
And later, largest opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, outlines plans for its national executive elections.
Congress are in two parts. You have the opening ceremony, and then you have the voting process, which is conducted on both occasions by the Electoral Commission.
A debt sustainability analysis has shown that Ghana's public debt is unsustainable. This would mean that Ghana may not be able to service its debt going forward if drastic measures are not taken. And so on the back of this, the government is currently negotiating with the International Monetary Fund to find a preferable package which they believe will help salvage this situation. Well, it is not just that, because drastic interventions must be made. And so the finance minister on Monday announced a program which is geared towards achieving this particular aim. And my colleague Neteli Neti was at the launch of this particular program, and she has come through with this report.
The launch of the debt exchange program comes days after the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta in the 2023 budget announced that government will undertake a debt operation program. Under the program, domestic bond holders will be asked to exchange their instruments for new ones. Existing domestic bonds as of 1st December 2022 will be exchanged for a set of 4 new bonds maturing in 2027, 2029, 2032 and 2037. The annual coupon on all these new bonds will be set at 0% in 2023, 5% in 2024 and 10% from 2025 until maturity. This comes as Ghana is seeking an economic program from the IMF to address its balance of payment and other financing challenges. Speaking at the launch of the debt exchange program, Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta reiterated government's pledge that no individual bondholder will lose their funds in the program.
The objective of this program is to alleviate the debt burden in a most transparent, efficient, and expedited manner. In this context, by means of an exchange offer. The government of Ghana has been working hard to minimize the impact of the domestic debt exchange on investors holding government bonds. In particular, it does not embed any principal haircut on eligible bonds as we promise. Let me repeat this fact as plainly as I can. In this debt exchange, individuals holding domestic bonds will not lose, are not affected by the value of their investment will be retained. So let us remove any doubt and discard any speculation that the government is about to cut your retirement savings or the notional value of your investment. This is not the case. As already announced, Treasury bills are completely exempted, and all holders will be paid the full value of their investment on maturity. There will be no haircut on the principal of bonds. Individuals who hold bonds would also not be affected at all. Our domestic debt operation involves an exchange for new Ghana bonds with a coupon that steps up to 10% as soon as 2025, with 0 interest in 2023 and the first interest payment in 2024. And longer average maturity for the bonds.
Ken Ofori-Atta noted that the domestic debt exchange program, which is part of a more comprehensive agenda to restore debt and financial sustainability, is a key requirement for the country to get a deal from the IMF. Thus, the need for the media to be circumspect in their reportage in order not to create unnecessary panic among investors.
This debt exchange provides an orderly way to put our economy back on track. These efforts will be complemented by fiscal measures to protect the neediest and most vulnerable in society. The government expects overwhelming support to this exchange, and in truth, the success of this necessary endeavor depends, of course, upon the public's cooperation. That would also mean the media being helpful in disseminating the right information to economic actors. We are all in this together, and we intend to get out of this together. The alternative will be a far worse economic crisis with protracted closure from international markets, including imported goods and services, and further domestic economic instability, both for the real economy and the financial sector.
One sector which will be affected by the debt exercise is the financial sector. He took the opportunity to assure all financial sector players of government support to minimize the impact of the program on the activities.
Our pledge to you all is that government will take all appropriate measures to safeguard the solvency of the financial institutions involved in the exchange. Thanks to well-targeted regulatory measures and the creation of a financial stability fund, banks, pension funds, insurance companies, fund managers, and collective investment schemes will be supported to ensure that they are able to meet the obligations to their clients as they fall due. For this reason, the Governor of the Bank of Ghana will follow suit with details of the necessary assistance in due course. We have also dialogued extensively with regulators across the financial sector, including the Securities and Exchange Commission, National Insurance Commission, and the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, to agree that regulatory forbearance will be provided to all entities whose financial position is adversely affected by virtue of participating in this exchange.
Government has finally launched the much talked about domestic debt exchange program, a key requirement to help us secure a deal with the IMF. Some key takeaways from this launch are that there will be no haircuts on principal bonds, and individual holders of bonds will not be affected. For Citi News, I am Netele Neti.
What does this domestic debt exchange program mean to stakeholders? My colleague Hansen Ajiman has been interacting with relevant stakeholders and has come through with the following report.
The debt exchange program is a form of debt restructuring aimed at reducing the debt burden on the economy. After a debt sustainability analysis with the IMF, it has emerged that Ghana's public debt to GDP ratio is over 100%, while the debt servicing to the GDP is 68%. The program is one of the measures adopted by government to reduce the debt burden to considerable levels. But what does the exchange really mean? Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie is an economist at the University of Ghana.
If you bought 100,000 next year, or it is supposed to mature beyond 2022, you will not get your principal. The government will share it, will exchange it for these four main types, right? And then 17% will mature in 2027, 17% of your existing bonds will mature in 2029, 25% will mature in 2032, 41% will mature in 2037.
So if I get you, it is not as though the bond that I bought, because I bought one bond, will be placed in another set of one bond.
No. If you bought 100,000 cedis, you're not going to get the 100,000 cedis as one bond. Government is going to spread it, share it into the four main types of bonds. So then the interest and the principal will not be paid as one. They'll be paid as four, 1 in 4. So it will be paid in percentages, 17%, 17%, 25%, and 41%. So you won't get it as one bond.
This is noted to be one of the prerequisite conditions for a successful engagement with the International Monetary Fund. Having laid the basis for the debt restructuring at a local level, the government is expected to soon announce a decision on the international debts. However, with the domestic debt exchange being by consensus, how easy will it be for government to get institutions on board?
individuals are very heterogeneous, and that is why the government has exempted the individuals from it, because it will be difficult to move from Sarkodie's house to go to Hanson's house and Chikate's house to talk to them. It will be difficult. So the government has exempted all the individuals who are holding bonds. Treasury bill are all exempted. And then the other primary dealers are more homogeneous. So you can talk about the banks, the investment banks, commercial banks, insurance companies, pension. It's much easier because most of the directors are government appointees. So it's much easier. You look at GCB Bank, for example, is for government. Consolidated Bank is for government. So it's much easier. The pension scheme boss is government appointee. So it's much easier for the government to negotiate, with these individuals.
The Trades Union Congress, however, has questioned the levels of engagement by the government. Though the union says it was not engaged, it has assured its members of commitment to protect their pension funds. The safety of such funds has been a concern of some Ghanaians since the announcement. Dr. Edu Usu-Sarkodie believes there's no cause for alarm.
Individual investors are very safe. All treasury bills are not touched. All individual bonds are not touched. And so it doesn't even matter the interest or the principal, you're not touched. Even with the investors, the banks, insurance, and pensions, the haircut is on the interest, not on the principal. So, and if you had given your money to an insurance company or for a pension fund, who is also going to buy this government bond, is going through this process, this exchange, because of the presence of the Financial Stability Fund, every individual is safe, and I think that Ghanaians should calm down. Because I have heard so much noise about this haircut. Hey, people are even going to withdraw savings account. They are going to withdraw their money from the bank. Fixed deposits are not included. Savings accounts are all safe. So I think we should calm down.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has urged Ghanaians to embrace the policy direction of government as it is for the best.
That notwithstanding, efforts are being made to turn the situation around, starting with the 2023 budget, which has outlined measures to unwind the large deficits and reduce the debt levels. In addition, the near-term adoption of the IMF program will provide us with some balance of payment support to help close the wide financing gaps, boost investor confidence, and restore stability. To a large extent, the lingering effects of the pandemic has waned, and implementation of a sound framework amid easing geopolitical tensions should help re-anchor inflation expectations with positive spillovers to the domestic economy. The bank will continue to implement prudent policies as much as practicable to restore price and exchange rate stability.
Dr. Edu Usu-Sarkodie has, however, warned of certain consequences if the debt restructuring is not handled properly.
Some investors, not all of them, some of them will be unwilling to lend to government again. And this is the sad side. That is why it is voluntary. That's why it's negotiation. That's why the government wants to talk to those who are willing to exchange, so that they will not be angry and decide not to lend to government in future. We have seen in the literature, we have seen so many examples. There's a reason for example, I am never in favor of haircut, never, because of the dark consequences, political, social, and economic consequences of a haircut. In the long term, people may refuse you any borrowing at all.
Not all stakeholders are enthused by the announced debt restructuring program, and the Ghana National Association of Teachers, that is NAT, is one of such groups. Its General Secretary has been engaging Citi News, and it says that its members are going to be worsened by this particular development.
Salaries in Ghana is one of the worst in the sub-region. Okay? And the salaries you take, or the salaries we take, it is out of which that will determine how much you should go home with during pension. And therefore it will be quite difficult for workers to accept this particular move. And I think government should find alternative, but not. Can you imagine that the whole of 2023 is zero? Can you imagine? the investment that people have made. Pensions. Look, it is going to have a significant effect. Significant effect. And this thing is enough to affect the life expectancy rate of Ghanaians. And Ghanaians, we've sacrificed, the Ghanaian worker has sacrificed enough. This time around, this particular investment is a no-go area. Organized labor will meet as soon as possible, and a decision will be taken on this one. There is no two ways about that, but we want to let government know that the Ghanaian worker and the pension investment is already Sakura. And once the thing is already Sakura, we don't need Baba now. I repeat, the pension that the Ghanaian worker is going home with is already Sakura. So if there is any cream or there is something that we can do for the hair to grow, let us do that one. But to go and, it means that you want to cut the flesh.
Let's take you to the House of the Legislature now, because the minority in Parliament has been reacting to this new development.
Government's decision to restructure about 137 billion cedis of the nation's domestic debt forms a critical part of conditionalities to secure a $3 billion support from the International Monetary Fund. Since negotiations began with the fund, there's been some unease about a possible haircut on investments. President Akufo-Addo, in his address on the economy on the way forward, was confident there will be no haircuts on investments. This position, however, was not re-echoed by the Finance Minister when he announced the debt exchange program by the government. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta said existing bonds as at December 1, 2022 will be exchanged for a set of new bonds maturing in 2027, 2029, 2032 and 2037. The annual coupons for these bonds will be set at 0% in 2023, 5% in 2024 and 10% from 2025 until maturity. According to the minister, treasury bills are however exempted and all holders will be paid the full value of their investments on maturity. Though government believes this debt restructuring is a necessary evil, the minority group in Parliament say these measures will have dire consequences on the financial sector.
The concern of this minority is the announcement by the Honorable Minister for Finance this morning has dire consequences on government and Ghana's financial sector. It has dire consequences on jobs, and dire consequences on pensions, and dire consequences on those who are compelled by legislation to invest at least 70%, 75% on government instruments and government bonds. We expect government to have thoroughly engaged and consulted before making this far-reaching announcement. How I wish President Nana Addo Dankwa this morning will reconcile his famous statement of there is no haircut to what his Minister of Finance have announced. Those are the briefing that bondholders who took forward to having their principals paid upon the maturity of their bonds are also in for a very rough ride, as the Akufo-Addo government has decided not to pay in full when the bonds reach maturity. When they brought Sino-Hydro, and we said it couldn't be better. The principal payments are to be done according to the underlisted formula, as you heard the minister. In 2027, which is 5 years from now, only 17% of the principal will be paid. You know why we are concerned? Because we in the minority believe that President John Dramani Mahama, as he then was, if he assumes the reins of power in 2025, what economy will he be inheriting? And what economy will he be running with us? We are interested in seeing them bequeath to us a healthy, stable economy, but they simply can't walk this with any competence.
The minority group also says the move essentially means the nation has defaulted on its debt.
Ghana is not in a position to repay its debt in its current shape and form unless we do what we call debt exchange. By defaulting on its current debt by exchanging with new terms. Simple put, today Ghana has officially announced default of its external debt. That is what it means. Unfortunately, this will mean that by close of this week, rating agencies will downgrade Ghana further to D. That is where we are. Ghana will be the first country in the entire Africa ever to restructure its domestic debt. First country. We have joined the league of Greece and Jamaica in the last 10 years. I want to say that government statement that the haircut is there will be no haircut is a hoax.
The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, says that it will take a collective effort to dig the country out of the economic hole it is currently in. The minority group says that yes, they do agree, but instead of government introducing new taxes, like the 2.5 increase in VAT, they would want to see government cut down on non-essential expenditure, like the National Cathedral, which 80 million cedis has been devoted to it in the 2023 budget. For Citi News, Charles Osukume reporting from Parliament.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. Still to come. Scores of customers of various telcos throng registration centres to regularize their SIM registration in the midst of frustration.
We have details of that and more coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Oh! Voila!
Katanye, GoTV nye, Kaweniso, enjoy all 64 games live on GoTV. Get your GoCoder and Plus at 89 Ghana cedis. GoTV, love it.
Welcome back. Let's now do some other stories. Now, many Ghanaians were left stranded at various registration centers in their bid to re-register their SIM cards because of network problems. The frustrated customers are therefore asking the government to facilitate the process to ensure compliance. There is more in this report by Citi News' Anne Shaliziu.
Many Ghanaians on Monday thronged registration centers in the national capital, Accra, to get their SIM cards registered. This comes after the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization announced that all SIM cards not fully registered will be blocked after November 30. Various registration centers at Dansoman saw long queues and huge crowds gathered to register their SIM. However, they described the process as frustrating.
I just want to abandon my SIM and go for another SIM with another network. If it's not that my money is on it, I will not even bother at all. Yeah, I will not even bother. Because I went to MTN, it's the same issue. The biometric is not picking. Yes, I've been blocked since Saturday.
I can make call. My data is working though, but my mobile money is not working. So that's why I'm here.
You have money on it?
I have money on it. Yes. So I'm here because of that. This is not the only SIM I have to. I have about 3 SIMs. Yeah, and they've been blocked. So I have to get them activated back, okay, so that I can work with them.
At the MTN office at Dansuman, some police personnel were deployed to ensure order due to the huge crowd. Some customers could not comprehend the blocking of their SIM cards.
I came here for the biometric registration, but since from Friday, they blocked my chip. I've registered. I came here for even the biometric, everything, but they blocked the chip. 2 SIM I'm using for MTN. They blocked the whole. Yes, everything. And when I came here, they give you some code. The one code they give to me, I use to register the whole 2 SIMs, and all were working. But I don't know from Friday evening, then they just blocked the whole 2 SIMs.
What are they telling you?
No, when I'm it's a policeman who is talking to me.
What time did you come here this morning?
Oh, no, anyway, I didn't come. I just came about 10 minutes. I just came here.
So right now, what of your services have been blocked?
All the services. Oh, even when I'm checking my credits, it doesn't go. No, nothing. But I don't understand. You see, that's why I didn't come here, because I thought I've fully registered. So if I come, just maybe there's some small thing that will go through, then I will get my chip open to me. But as of now, it seems I cannot still open my chip. I don't know why.
We are here because of chip. But we are telling Rosu that God bless her. Period. Period. She know. They said the government is keeping our chip. They said the government is keeping our chip right now. So we are thanking Rosu for everything so far. I was here, I think 4 o'clock. Yes.
What are they telling you?
And they said we should go home, and next week they will come. I don't know. So the network is jamming, so we can't just do anything.
They blocked my chip, and this is the only thing I use to survive. I lose 8,700 in this bank clinic. I can't keep my money in the bank again. This one too, they've now blocked it. So where should we go in Ghana? Where should we go? If you go to NI, they say come to MTN. You come to MTN and say go to NIA. Where should we go to get our problem solved? The best thing to do is to let the companies know, those who have their cards, they should go about it normally, so until they get them registered. It's not to close the person's, close everything just like that. The best thing to do, they should go to the data. Those who have unique number, they can give them time to register, and then they go about it. But you just close everything like that, it's not the best. I registered with MTNI. They give me unique code. I brought the card, they enter it, there is nothing on it. Is it my fault?
Other affected persons who were unable to access their mobile money had some reservations on why they could receive money but could not withdraw.
Na me patchen say, bankoya Ghana card. Ya block me. Fine. Me pon block e be say 1 week in here. Fine. Matias here. No be sending sika fi Togo abremi. O sending sika no. Matumi ebi ameme no mama block no. Wa sending sika no. Atumi akomo aba pepepe. Mama block or sending Friday. 10 o'clock, 10:30. No sending Friday. Mohammed as Awa Hakim no sending scanner. Argentina scanner. Atumi akomo wom na mu we de ma block. Me ba ya musu say muntumi scanner mame. Adenti. Moment I'm block me line. No be sending sika. Breme no. Ati se mo catch on back on say mo share say oh akọ ya block the line no. Enti sika na mo send ntumi e den. Ye. Na fa den tren ye no matumi ai den agi sika no agum mu wemu na mo de me se me de ntumi yi ana me ntia se no enti no mo panifo no mo hwe no mo nye bibi anya me nko aye egu anyina sa problem na bebre face.
An officer of MTN who spoke off camera to Citi News indicated that the SIM re-registration platform network was down, thus their inability to attend to the many customers. On the issue of the mobile money service, she explained that the Momo platform was still working, which allows registered SIMs to send money to others. However, an unregistered SIM will not be able to withdraw. Some Ghanaians have been left stranded at various registration centres in their bid to re-register their SIM cards, which have been blocked on many services, especially the Momo platform. They are calling on the government and the telcos to ease up the process of re-registering their SIM because it's too frustrating. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Ansheli Siwu.
Now we'll stay a while longer on the SIM card re-registration exercise because it took the intervention of police officers at some registration centres in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, to maintain order and avert possible chaos after hundreds of customers whose SIM cards have been blocked thronged the centres on Monday. Citi News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
Customers came from far and near to get officials at this registration center to rectify challenges related to their SIM cards. Interestingly, most of the customers had arrived at the center as early as 1 a.m.
We've been here for some couple of hours and we've been told that the system is not working because there is some code that needs to be sent from NCA for an access to be granted for them to register our SIM cards. But most of us have had the registration done. But when we came here, they are telling us that our registration was incomplete. So why was it incomplete? Because myself, I came here personally for them to register the SIM card for me. So why are they telling me that registration was incomplete?
When was your SIM card blocked?
It was blocked on Saturday afternoon. Let's say in the hours of, I realized I couldn't make calls from the hours of, 1 thereabout, I couldn't access, to even to check my call balance, I couldn't check it. So, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
Me bahan ma homa chebe 12 o'clock. Me bedi kan bahan at the same time I better register me SIM. By message in my, me bahan by 12 o'clock, message in my. My mobile money agent, I'm a year Juma Bibre. We could have sent therefore, I am planning here Juma. The same sicker was 50,000, then you now block it. The buyer almost say, Omunya, message in free, a strong mind, network and article. About Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, 5 days. Maybe I'm spending 20 cities, 30 cities, a lot of fair.
If you Wednesday, no, yes, Adam. The Bahama Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, one of my net, no, Sabasi. This guy may force me to come for. Bako nursing trainer so nko tua nsika wako. He said yes nsika na obefo so be ma kokutua. E na me ma nko so no motifi. And do obi na mam 10 cedi to na be ka me kuma me madi ye. E ya tete sem, say sika obi ho ye 3 cedi. Network na broko. Eti yesra e ho say aban yesra aban say yesra no. Ye do the pan ye to aban ma no. Omo tete yesa, e me nipa. E ho kire yesa. Ya ho kire ye pa. Ni sa de wo sa be ka ho obi abushani wa bro. Ti ko be ma ne kakari to do ani adi. The
concerns ran through anxious and frustrated customers, some of whom claimed despite going through the re-registration successfully, they have had their SIM cards deactivated.
If I am quite a person, I'm quite a bit of a local as a dear bay. Then answer me to me, Nancy. You say free by you because you had a chairman. Nina, I mean, yes, Carmen, I told you any idea. Yes, I do know me and something I said, but I say, Yamay. Says, oh, my man, a day. Come in power. You may want me to know.
My call register. Maybe I'll be 1 minute. I feel free by 4 days in it. Now call baby, since they may be 100 years, our dad, my John Wabijina, who maybe will be any fee, my tunupum, and my Bijina. Before no call, Nasa, Minian Crabs and this Calamia told you, and I'm a Brewanedia. Since a bad 4 days, me, yes, baby, I'm a phone call. Me, Fred will be and call be friendly and Mac.
There was near chaos at this center, and the police had to come in to maintain order. The affected customers called on the National Communications Authority to work on resolving the challenges.
In the best government, no. So when you move here, one voice out, a mere who's and pat. One who want a free, nothing quite before so. yɛne company be deal no yɛne deal anasa ban be yama obia wa register de bia nya kwan ayusu de
e time ye de adwuma sika nso ni o man nim se na nanado sis campaign de no yenso ye mpede enti ni aba ha no ye be yi sika no se si ano de ye wom ni se omo mfa omo Ghana card en register no omo ye kwa ekọ omo iska ye amo se mfa Ghana card me register no ye register o
The numbers at the center kept increasing, but officers were seen busily attending to them.
A lot of the customers are complaining about the blocking of their SIM card, though they claim they have successfully gone through the registration exercise. They want the National Communications Authority and the Ministry of Communications to resolve the concerns. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Ashanti Region.
Now, meanwhile, the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Esla Owusu, has been responding to claims that subscribers without the Ghana card have also had their SIM cards blocked. She was speaking on the floor of Parliament earlier today. The Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Esla Owusu, is disputing reports that persons without the Ghana card have had their SIM cards blocked.
So it is incorrect to state here that those who do not have the Ghana cards have had their SIM cards blocked. That's factually incorrect. This process is being conducted in phases, and this current deactivation is directly, those who are directly affected are those who have completed the first phase of the exercise, but not gone on to complete the second phase for reasons best known to themselves. So the ranking member is wrong to state here that somebody has had their cards, their SIM cards deactivated merely because they do not have the Ghana card.
Still in Parliament, the Health Minister Kweku Agyemang-Manu says there is an imminent bilateral agreement between Government of Ghana and the British government to send Ghanaian trained nurses to Britain in exchange for financial considerations. The MP for Doma Central was contributing to the debate on the 2023 budget in Parliament.
We can send people away from the big cities where everybody wants to be. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, we started sending nurses outside on bilateral basis. And the agreement we signed with Barbados has sent the second cohort of nurses to Barbados. Mr. Speaker, why would they come for more? Now in Barbados, what we hear is the fact that patients are requesting for Ghanaian nurses to be on their bedsides. And I think that is a plus for us. We are engaging with the government of the United Kingdom, and we are just about signing a memorandum of agreement after cabinet approval to begin to send nurses, even the certificate nurses, to go for training and work there and come back home after 3 years. And out of these nurses, Ghana is going to benefit from some little money that the UK government will pass on. For every single nurse that goes away, when we finish the agreement, it's likely we'll get over £1,000 to come back to support our health system strengthening.
The Health Minister also announced plans to roll out an enhanced malaria vaccine in 2023.
Mr. Speaker, we are doing a lot of things. And by virtue of our collaboration with Gavi, the Global Vaccine Alliance people, God willing, next year, we may introduce a vaccine for malaria. And that will also help us stop the type of challenge we have with malaria case burdens across our country. Already, fatalities with malaria infections are going down, and we believe that with the vaccines, we will have a lot more resilience and immunity against vaccines.
You're watching the Citi Newsroom here on Citi TV. Still ahead. Largest opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, outlines plans for its national executive elections.
We have details of this and other stories coming up shortly. Please to stay.
can become a household.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You Go Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.yougoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. You Go Flip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
And welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Let's do more stories. In the National Democratic Congress, the NDC is asking delegates and aspirants in the national executive elections race to effectively scrutinize the delegates list ahead of the polls. According to the chairman of the National Congress Planning Committee of the party, Alex Sabefia, over 8,000 delegates are expected to participate in the elections. There's more in the following report.
The NDC will hold its Women and Youth Organizer elections at the University of Cape Coast on December 10. The National Congress will be at the Accra Sports Stadium on December 17. Speaking at an event to launch the party's 10th Congress, themed Rallying for Victory 2024 Ghana's Hope, Deputy Coordinator of the National Congress Planning Committee of the NDC, Alex Sabefia, noted that all issues with the delegates list must be made known to the Planning Committee before the day of the elections.
We want our delegates to rest assured that a delegate list has gone out. There's nothing like a perfect list. So please scrutinize it. If there are issues you have with the delegates list, especially for the aspirants, make it known as soon as possible. We have made it available for both the women and youth as well as the main Congress. Do not come and give us an injunction on the day when you've had all this time to rectify any issues you feel are necessary. Because most of the time, some of these things can be dealt with very quickly, ahead of time, as opposed to leaving it to the last moment. And that is why the delegates list has been sent out, so that these issues can be rectified and we can have a smooth Congress on the day.
He added that 17 polling stations will be set up to ensure that the election is conducted smoothly. Mr. Sabefia says the election committee has collaborated with the Electoral Commission to ensure that the process is done in a transparent manner.
Congress are in two parts. You have the opening ceremony, and then you have the voting process, which is conducted on both occasions by the Electoral Commission. The second phases will commence immediately after the ending of the first introductory phases. The Congress Planning Committee has been working with the Election Committee, and it intends and has drawn up plans to ensure that we have elections that can be finished in a day. And for those of you who remember 4 years ago, this is quite important. In that vein, we are looking to set up 17 different polling stations to cater for 16 regions in a way and manner and a configuration that will allow multiple voting simultaneously to ensure that we finish in a good couple of hours.
The National Planning Committee of the NDC has indicated that enough measures have been put in place to ensure that the elections or the Congress doesn't travel beyond the time allocated to the event. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Philip Latte.
Let's bring you more stories. And teacher trainees at the St. Francis College of Education at Hohoe have agreed with the necessary authorities to partake at the end of the semester exams despite an ongoing strike by the lecturers.
Freduho has more in the following report.
Lecturers at the colleges of education across the country have been on strike for the past 3 weeks over some allowances due them. The leadership of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CITAC, directed its members to stay away from all academic activities until issues surrounding their allowances are resolved by the government. This has disrupted the academic calendar, hanging students' fate in a balance. Speaking to Citi News, the level 200 and 300 trainees on campus called on the examination board at the University of Cape Coast to postpone the exams until next year.
We are not fully prepared, we will not finish the course outline, and moreover, lecturers who are supposed to compile our CAs for us, because our CAs are part of our exam results, so they are not yet compiled. So we know even if you write, because lecturers are saying that if we write, they are also not in the position to produce the CAs, and even they will not mark the script. So we writing and UCC keeping the script, the same as we waiting for the lecturers to come back before we write. So if all of us refuse to go, we know very well that it will not affect us in any way. The best thing UCC has to do is to restructure and organize the exam for us to come back and write.
We are emotionally not stable for this exam. They really have to give us time, I think next year, before we can sit up. If our lecturers are back, their needs to be met and their grievances need to be addressed before we can carry on with any examinational activity or anything.
Other universities, UDS, Winneba have suspended their examination because of what is happening. And it's only UCC that is forcing us to write these exams. We think this is against our fairness, and we are not ready for these exams until our lecturers are back in the classroom.
Meanwhile, information available to Citi News indicates that the Students' Leadership Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana, TAG, has reached a consensus with the University of Cape Coast to write the exams on Thursday, December 8, 2022. On the issue of feeding, the students called on the government to intervene by releasing adequate funding to cater for the right meal.
And first, we've been taking food with fish and other stuff, but currently, because of the economic crisis and then other stuff, they said the feeding grant is not enough to cater for all those meals again. So some of the things have been scrapped off in the menu. So at times we take porridge without bread and then granite, and sometimes we take banku without fish. So that is what is happening now. So students are complaining now to either for them not to be cooked for, or they should be giving their money to feed themselves. And then now the current situation is that they are not going to feed us 3 times a day again. So we want to eat 2 times a day. That is afternoon and evening. So that is the issue on ground now.
The government is not able to pay regularly, though they have been paying, but it's not regular. And sometimes it normally puts the administration into bank rupture, and they sometimes think of not feeding us sometimes before government will later come in and pay easily.
At first, we used to take 3 square meals a day. The kind of food that we take from the dining hall is not even reduced. Now you go to the dining hall, you can only get 1 ladder of wache, and you cannot rely on that 1 ladder of wache for almost 3 to 4 hours before getting another meal.
So we want the government to come and address the situation for us.
Well, and that's it for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom. Our website, citinewsroom.com, has more information on our top stories and more.
Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV.
You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and on GoTV channel 182. My name is Kweku Edioma Ansa.
And my name is Charles Osukumi. Many thanks for watching.
Aside raising funding